Woohoo! Boy, I love that. It gets me fired up, Benny. Thank you. That's a really cool new introduction. So, for those of you that are like, well, wait, what's going on? You've known me for years as the Gratitude Cafe or the I'm Thankful Network. And just like anything, like you, like the world, there's an evolution, a process. And I'm evolving. My desires and my names and all of that are evolving as well. So it's all same me, just another version 2.0. It's Sue Lundquist here, and it is Clarity with Sue. You can go to claritywithsue.com and get all the information. Sign up for the newsletter, and then you can get a copy of the show, get all the deets, all the good juicy stuff. There's some free things in there. I do card readings every week just to set the intention and the tone. Kind of, it's a looking glass kind of opportunity. If it resonates, it resonates. If it doesn't, let it go. It's all good. You know what? I'm just going to tease you a minute here, guys. Santa Monica to the jungles of Peru. I'm just going to hook you right there. Y'all are just like, huh, what's going on? And what about divine genius? Listen to this language, an unlearning curve, both professionally and personally. I'm pretty excited to have our guest today. But before we do that, Benny, good morning.
Hi there. How are you?
I am good. How is Seattle? I heard that there's just crazy weather and.
Yeah, we've had a little storm kind of coming and going. Not too massively crazy, just winds. It's spring.
Yeah.
Spring potpourri of weather, so,
Rain potpourri.
Yeah, it was a great Easter last weekend for Easter weekend for my family and extended families. And back to you. I hope you guys had a great weekend as well.
Yes, thank you very much. All right. Again, claritywithsue.com if you want to get a copy of the show. Please sign up for the newsletter. If you are driving, wonderful. Just focus on the driving. Watch the kids and the animals. If you are joining us on YouTube or would like to join us on YouTube, just simply go to YouTube and you can type in 11:50 a.m. You'll see us live during the radio show then, and then also doing the podcast world after everything is live. So join us, and we're glad to have you here. Okay, I'm going to bring on Adam as soon as I can get my throat clear here. Interesting that that's just now happening. Okay, we talked about Santa Monica to the jungles of Peru. So Adam C. Hall is committed to helping individuals, companies, and organizations unlearn the beliefs, the behaviors, and the habits that shield them from discovering their purpose, mission, and cause. Oh, we are so speaking the same language. In his book, Divine Genius, The Unlearning Curve, Adam shares the 13 universal wisdom teachings and the genius process that led his transformation, discovered on the extraordinary journey that took him from the shores of Santa Barbara to the jungles of Peru. He is passionate about sharing his knowledge and his wisdom with the world. He is an author, a speaker, a futurist, a social architect, impact investor, advisor, conservative, 3 decades as a CEO, serial entrepreneur. I could keep going. Mr. Adam, what a blessing. I'm going to bring you on. Let's get to know your energy, who you are, your why, your flavor. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here with you, Sue, and good to see you, Benny. And these are exciting times, and I'm looking forward to an exciting show to explore, well, the magnificence of this planet we share.
Yes. Okay, so I did the formal bio. Let's get to know you, your why. Where's this passion and this drive coming from, and your story behind all of that?
Well, most certainly it's driven by my intention to leave the world a better place for my children and my grandchildren. I'm actually here in southern Utah today visiting my children and grandchildren. I just found out I'm going to be a grandfather for the 6th time. Okay, girl, here we go. And
congratulations.
What's really really cool about that is it's the 6th granddaughter.
So I got goosebumps.
So I'm very driven by that. And I sense there's so many great challenges that are going on for us, and not to get segue into any of that, but ultimately my passion is driven to really to support and build a better world for all of us, why we're here, but in particular my grandchildren. So I look forward to exploring, how we can do that, how we can join together, how we can really, really reimagine and revision and redream, as you said, our world into being. And this is what the shamans have done throughout the millennium. They show up and they dream the world into being, not from a place of our past, not from our stories that no longer serve us, not from our traumas, but from the depth of our heart and soul. So we get to do that today. So that's what's driving me. I feel more alive than ever about what's going on, and more optimistic, Sue, about what's going on, actually.
Well, let's swim in that optimism and share that optimism, especially with everything that's going on in the world, and just revitalizing that frequency and that energy, and communicating that to our people that are listening now. And just, I call it a love bump. Let's give them a little love bump and say, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. What are some of the, so first of all, your book, Divine Genius, The Unlearning Curve. I'd love for you to talk to us about that book, how did that come about? And we can tap into the 13, you call them wisdom teachings. Yes.
Absolutely. So the Divine Genius, The Unlearning Curve is my second published book. My first one was called The Earth Keeper, Undeveloping the Future. And so this particular book is the second part of a trilogy that I decided, well, maybe the universe decided to write through me, is probably more accurately. And I wanted to connect, some key aspects of what I think it was most certainly my own personal journey, but I think what is also the human journey, Sue, and that is, okay, we just have our lives, this 3D world, they say. We live in this material experience of duality and all the pain, the suffering, the ups and the downs, and all the things that come with it. So oftentimes we get very focused on it. So I wanted to take that part of my life, and I wanted to connect that to what I would best describe the invisible, the unseen part of my life, the spiritual world. And as a shaman, our fiduciary, our job for others, but also for ourselves, is to bridge that 3D world, the life we live in, and all the things we go through, with our real spiritual nature, our soul nature. So in the book, I build upon this connection, and I share this bridge that I built, and the discoveries that I found along the way, which are these 13 wisdom teachings, but ultimately to bring that back to life. In other words, if we can have all this knowledge and all this wisdom, but if we're not in the game, what's it worth? What are we really doing? So why not bring it back, bring it and share it, enjoy. So I wrote this book about the divine genius, which is the divinity, the true nature of ourselves as geniuses, really, every one of us, that is connected to this greater quantum field where everything is possible and nothing is impossible. So
that's beautiful, Adam. Let's break that down for those that are listening, because I understand the language, and most of our audience does, the quantumness, and I love swimming in the quantum soup. So this is good. I'd like to just break that down as a shaman. What does that mean? What does that look like in daily life? Defining that, and how that has created the lifestyle that you now live. What was it that was such a deep meaning for you as a shaman? And then also kind of unpacking the quantum language so people understand that a bit.
Yeah, let's do that, because it really does boil down to lifestyle and what kind of, it's like, what kind of life do you want to live?
Yep.
Do you just want to bob along and play into the story and the half-truths and the victim and the perpetrator and the rescuer story of our planet? Or do you want to move through live your life that's very full, that's very enriching and peaceful and loving and joyful? And so
choice, right? It's a choice.
Exactly. I mean, it's like, really, it's pretty simple and straightforward, but the journey to that and the choice of that is the big thing. Yes. So when I'm speaking to the life that I want to live here, and it's really best described as a conscious loving, joyful, peaceful lifestyle that's very abundant.
And abundant on all levels, right? So that abundance is all levels.
Abundant in body, emotion, and heart, mind, spirit, abundant in all of that, connected to that quantumness. Well, let's get into that, because the life I was living was seemingly, here I was, successful entrepreneur in real estate, built some successful companies, did well financially, built the big home, the whole thing, the whole story, right? But wait a second, I was missing something. There was a hole in me that said, oh, I am not feeling satisfied. I feel a bit empty, drinking too much. It was kind of Tums in the morning and tequila at night kind of thing. It was kind of driven by
shutting down, numbing out.
That lifestyle, that looks picture perfect. That looks family, all of that, clubs, all that. But wait a second, it wasn't. So what I am talking about here, and what you asked about, is how do we connect to the greater totality of ourselves? Well, what I did is I began in earnest to take this discovery path. Some call it the hero's journey, as Campbell would say.
Yeah.
The spiritual path, that quest where we all become the seeker. And we look to teachers and we look to gurus. And ultimately, I came to a place that says, well, wait a second, you are the teacher, you are the guru, you have the power. Wait a second, you're looking everywhere else, but exactly where it is. And of course, it's right here in my heart.
Oh my gosh, so much, right? We do that. We're like the external.
Right?
Where is it? I got to find it. I got to get a hold of it. Our humanness.
So bringing this kind of life that we live in, this 3D duality, bringing that together with this greater power of our own truth, our own ability to make our choice of how we want to live our life. Nobody needs to define our life. We don't need our medicine telling us how to do it. We don't need our politics. We don't need any of that. We have that power. So bringing those together has this powerful synaptic connection. So they come together, and then that energy I found in the oneness of my spiritual beingness and my life as I know it is a quantumness, which is a connection to this greater field, this greater universe.
Let me back up. Hang on just a second. Let me back up, because the audience, if you guys are hearing us talk about 3D, it's 3D form. We have a house, its form, where energy and quantum and frequency, the frequency is so high, there isn't a form. Like, we are human bodies. So I want to just make sure that that's clear. And also communicating, guys, this isn't about in the box dogma religion. If you believe in purple chopsticks, or if you believe in all of that, that's what we want for you. So it's the connecting to the divine and the heart and the love. And Adam, I want to just go back for a minute, because, society and the media, they say, live a purposeful life and live on purpose. And, everybody's like, well, what's my purpose? I got to go find my purpose. And it's put the mirror. It's literally, you living on purpose is your purpose.
Yeah, I love to riff with you a little bit on that, because in the book, I speak to one of the wisdom teachings, which is true purpose.
Ooh, that's the 13 of, okay.
Part of the 13 wisdom teachings.
Okay.
There's this conundrum, because everybody talks about, like you just said, what is my purpose? What am I to do in the world? And, as a longtime student of A Course in Miracles, and it's very much about also what I teach as a framework as well. And it speaks to true purpose, not in the sense that we think, well, what am I to do? Am I to be a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor, or whatever all that story is?
Yeah.
We're trying to find it, but it's true purpose. A Course in Miracles says is there's only one purpose we all have. Everybody has the same purpose. And that purpose is to be your authentic, true self. It's all we need to do in purpose, authentic, true self. All else will reveal itself.
Yes, I love that. So big anchor grounding words for me, Adam, and the audience knows this. It's authentic and genuine.
For sure.
Getting authentic and genuine with yourself and going to exactly what you were saying. Yet there's, the subconscious, the conscious, there's old beliefs, new beliefs, all the bad roommate that's in here making you believe be something else, right? When, you don't have to. Just get really clear and define what that means to you, what your life, what your heart, what your soul means to you, not based on your past, not based on what somebody said. I think that is so purpose. And you call it the true purpose. And I love that.
Indeed. And it really leads to a place of, like you're talking about, to feel into that authenticity, feel into that authenticity,
and it may not always feel good, but that's okay. You're overcoming. It's okay.
Absolutely. But we all know those places where we feel a sense of joy. We all know those places that say, God, I feel so alive. Look at that, mountain, is just something. And those are our aspects of our authentic being that is very present in wanting to share and not wanting to not feel alone in this journey, because we're not alone in this journey. We're all here. We have mission in life. We come to do and express in our own ways, and we are worthy. We are so worthy of being who we are. So here we are, and dancing in the authenticity of this journey together.
I love it. I love it. Okay, sweetheart, I just got to say, for those in radio world, just hang on for just a minute, but on YouTube, look under the wing and there is a heart-shaped cloud. Did you know that? Do you see the heart-shaped cloud?
I'm seeing it right here.
Yes. Isn't that amazing?
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sue, for pointing that out. You're the first one.
I love it. I love it because it's all love, right? It's the resonance. Talk to me about me and the audience. I'm spinning out. I'm losing my shiitake. I don't know what my purpose is. I keep looking outside. Where do I go? What do I do?
Well,
I know that's a big question.
Yeah, I mean, the obvious things people always say is sit quietly and close your eyes. But okay, that's great. But here's what I'd like you to do, and do it right away, because it's the most essential thing that I find when I find moments of spinning out, because the world pulls us, it tugs at us, it wants to spin us out. I had done a little spinning just in the last couple weeks, as a matter of fact. So what I do is I immediately get into some relationship with nature. And if you live in a place, you can get to the park, you can get to the water, but whatever it is, I always recommend that get earth, what we say earth, get into our own earth of our own ground.
Right.
Because in that place that is held, Mother Nature holds us. And even if it means you have to hug a tree, I'll never forget, I hugged a tree when I bought a place up at Big Sur, and I hugged a redwood because I couldn't resist, but it just took my energy right in. It just said yes to being there in the most solid, grounded way. So if that is the most practical, key first step, because otherwise it can get overwhelming, to say the least, and not good things come out of reacting or acting upon in that place, as we all know too well. So that would be my most simple, easy recommendation.
And it's free, right? I mean, it's literally, and I've taught about this as well. Instead of walking forwards in earth, find a patch, take your shoes off and walk backwards, because you are intentional. You know where your feet, because our humanness is not used to walking backwards. At least my humanness isn't. So it gets you in the now, in the moment, right? And I would also encourage the breath work too, guys. Take some deep breaths. If the Navy SEALs can do it, we can do it. It's free. It's not a Safeway coupon or any of that, my loves.
Yeah,
It is
well, you
free.
just made a good reference point to the Navy SEALs, because I love their motto, and maybe this is appropriate here as well. And their motto is, slow is smooth and smooth is swift. Not in
Say
any
that
hurry.
again. Say that again.
Slow is smooth and smooth is swift. Not in a hurry. Let's not get sidetracked. Let's just go slow, go smoothly, and we get to where we want to go.
I love it. And breath work and tapping into nature too. I love my nature time. And guys, in this, and it's a sense of grounding and meditation. And if that for you is in your garden, if that for you is, with your food and gardening, or your flowers and gardening, maybe it's in your kitchen, and that's how you're cooking food and loving on people through the food and that's come from the earth. That is great too, as long as you are refueling yourself, right? And yeah, granted, the first question that I had asked Adam was, what can me, all of us do in that moment if the bad roommate were spinning out, things aren't going right. So he's suggesting to find that nature, to find that ground, and also breath work is super important. You know what? We've got a couple more minutes and then we'll take a commercial break. Talk to me. And because I don't have the book in front of you, you said you've got 13 universal wisdom teachings. What's another one you can talk? You talked about true purpose.
Well, I'm always begin with that very first step of anything that I personally do in life these days. And I believe, through many traditions, offer this as well as a key first step, is true forgiveness. Very first thing that I could even say, if the audience only took one thing away today, would be to come into true forgiveness. And I'd be happy to do a little dive into that.
Let's dive.
That's Sue, because, when we think of forgiveness, we, of course, I forgive that person for what happened to me. I'm just going to say it's okay. I'm going to move on. But guess what? We often don't. We often, in the recesses, in the wiring of our cortex and in our reptilian mind, we really often just stay in a place of putting it in a file. And guess what? It keeps pinging us and guiding our decision-making process. Just think, maybe you've been in relationships, and for some reason that relationship or that first marriage didn't work out, and then you come back and then you got the same person again. My goodness. So it wasn't it's just still hanging around. So what I offer in the Divine Genius, the Unlearning Curve, is the first universal wisdom teaching is true forgiveness. And the idea of true forgiveness is we forgive ourselves and others, not for what happened, but for what did not happen. Let me share that.
Unpack it, babe. Unpack it, love.
Let me pack that down a little bit for you. And I first of all want to just say, this is not to be de minimis to anybody's traumatic event. This is not to say those events did not happen. It's not about denial. It's not about any of that. It's about moving through and beyond it, so it's now no longer dictating how you think and what you do and how you live your life. In other words, taking your power back from an event. So true forgiveness is about what we did not do. And what we do not do, all of us, by the way, is we actually forget that we are connected in one with each other. Because in our connection, in our oneness with each other, there is only love. And in that love, in the presence of love, of our interconnectivity with each other, it offers us a way to move through and beyond fear of the event or the person that inflicted a trauma upon us. Also very important here is the idea of forgiveness is an idea that exists within the victim, perpetrator, rescuer mentality. And we just seemingly are become the victim of an experience. Well, we can't get out of that experience in that manner. It also offers us a way, Sue, to really recognize that we can move through a very powerful force to come into a place where we reclaim our power. So I'll keep it kind of short and neat here, but we can go deeper with it. But it's very important to begin that process that moves us away from guilt, judgment of self and others, victim
resentments,
right into forgiveness of self, and whatever else happens from there will happen. But the key is we forgive ourselves and let that energy and that trauma go.
and letting that trauma and that energy go. And there was another shaman I had a few weeks ago, and my analogy of letting it go used to be drop the bag. And she said to me, "Oh, how about this? How about," what was the language she used? It's about forgiveness and dropping the bag of all, whatever the bag is, emotions, forgiveness, resentments, all of that stuff, and transmuting it to, a greater frequency. So it's a transmutation of its energy and frequency, letting it go out of your body versus dragging it behind you. That it's kind of heavier. There's a different feeling energetically when she was talking about it. And I from then on, now it's just transmuting the energy. We're going to continue this conversation on YouTube while we take a 3-minute commercial break. So all of you in the Pacific Northwest, thank you very much. We'll be right back. If you want to join us over at YouTube, we are there live. Just type in 11:50 a.m. And we're going to continue noodling on forgiveness a little bit. And then when we come back, we're going to continue with true purpose, true forgiveness, and 13 universal wisdom teachings, the divine genius with Adam Hall. Sue Lundquist here. We'll be right back.
All clear.
Thank you, Benny. We're still on YouTube. So yes, true purpose, true forgiveness. And it's the forgiveness of us. Yes. I see us, but it's me and us. So it's loving me is loving you is loving us. I say that all
100%. And I would also really add in that transmutation process, one of the things that, we practice vigilantly in the transformation, because we are this alchemist. We have the ability to really let things go, not just in our head. That doesn't really cut it most often. So one of the things we can do is we can do a little ritual, which is as simple as taking that energy into even a stick and blowing the energy and putting it in the fire, because nothing transmutes like the fire. It's the most powerful force, as we know, on the planet in so many ways. So that's a great way also to practice letting go, transmuting energy, embracing what is coming in for your own personal journey. And it's easy to do, and it's very, very, very powerful, and it works.
I love it. And that's a tactile, like you could do it literally. It's tactile too. And that ceremony with the fire and everything. Oh, something popped up. Oh, what was it? It'll come back to me maybe when we're on live radio. But for those of you on YouTube, I want to remind who we're talking to. It's Adam Hall. His latest book, number 2, is The Divine Genius, the Unlearning Curve. And we've talked about his passion, his trip from Santa Monica to the jungles of Peru. And I love what you say, Adam: people, planet, profit with purpose. A lot of P's in there. I love it.
A lot of P's in there, and it's the quadruple bottom line, and that's been the mantra of impact investing, social impact investing. It used to be the triple bottom line. Now it's the quadruple bottom line. I decided to add purpose in there, because if something wasn't directly purposeful to authenticity, to be super real, then it doesn't mean much.
Right. All right. We're going to go back. Thanks, Benny.
All right. Stand by.
Welcome back, everybody, Pacific Northwest, and to all of those in the SoundCloud, iTunes, all of the podcast world. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. This is Clarity with Sue. Please, I would love to get some love from you and my guests as well. Go in there and subscribe. SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify. Give us a 5-star, 6-star, 10-star, lots of stars. The big fat ratings, lots of love. Would love to see you, hear from you. Are there guests or things that you want to learn and hear about? I'd love to hear from you. You can just go to my website at claritywithsue.com and we will get that looked at. All right, we were on YouTube just a minute ago during the break, and we were talking about true purpose, true forgiveness, and Adam Hall. We were talking about the P's, the quadruple P's. Would you like to talk about that on radio now?
Well, we're talking about what the quadruple P's, the bottom line, and in the bottom line in the social impact world where we're investing for the better good of the whole is people, planet, profits with purpose. And
you know what, you were saying that, but I think if you have that purpose is people, that's planet, that's profit. So I love that you put it all together.
Yeah, well,
right?
and we put it together because say, if you're an entrepreneur or a startup, or you're in the business world, it's obviously the movement is away from a singular bottom line of profits, and we're finally seeing some movement in that world towards this bigger, broader bottom line, and if we think about that, what is your personal bottom line? What is it that really is alive for you right now? And I often like to think of that because I believe that that the bottom line is that new the true wealth, the new abundance that's available to us that you referenced earlier in the show, Sue, around or just what is that abundance look like for ourselves? Abundance of health. Abundance of joy and love in our lives, abundance of money in our lives. So whatever that personal bottom line is for you, it's your personal abundance mantra, and that's what I think we're here to claim at this time. A lot of us are lamenting around the challenges that we face in life, and certainly there are great challenges. But let's keep in mind, this is an abundant universe. We live on an abundant planet. Nature doesn't see anything of the sort that there's scarcity. I even wrote a little book, that's my third book that came out since Divine Genius, called The Little Book of Genius for Abundance.
Ooh.
Abundance.
Let's unpack that word abundance, because I feel, and I'll tell you a personal story. When I was changing my old story about abundance, and if we can take money abundance as the example, because so many people are focused on having that type of financial abundance. Now, my language around abundance, financial abundance to me is freedom to give, freedom to be of service, freedom to travel, freedom to do and be of service how I want to at my capacity. That's really important to me, and to be able to show up that way and not have the abundance and thinking of abundance, financial abundance, and having a scarcity mindset, or it's bad, or I can't have it, or something like that. I will tell you, Adam, when I first started that journey, I literally was writing abundance, all of that. And for whatever reason, I couldn't spell it. Isn't that weird? I'm like, of course you're blocked. You can't spell it. Abundance. And I'd be typing, I'm like, what's going on? I'd write it out. It was just the craziest thing. So I knew that there was a block there. It was just, it's a metaphor for whatever it's worth. But you understand what I'm saying, right?
Totally understand what it is, and I think it is a block for many of us, and the abundance is a mindset, and the abundant mindset is because ultimately it's about the manifestation of abundance in our lives. But that is a place that we begin with our perception, the old cliche, the glass is half empty. So are we really feeling, the abundance of what's really present? Maybe we're not tapped into it. Obviously, if we feel in lack and we feel scarcity, I don't feel loved, then we're not tapping into the love that's surrounds us. We're not tapping into the love of who we are, most definitely. Or we feel that our bank account is really lacking, then we're not tapping into the possibilities of the abundance that's very present. So the idea here is really the abundant mind.
And also with that, this is super important, receivership.
Well, I love that.
Right?
I think it's key. I think it's a key is that a lot of people give, maybe men in particular, they're better givers than they are receivers. Well, a lot of us are, but I would say for men,
women are too. I'm a recovering, I swear.
I can only speak as a man here. Initially moving beyond the narcissist that I was, that I got some giving going, and then it was like I had no clue how to receive, and now it's almost ecstatic about giving and receiving.
Yes.
And giving and really following the depth of what that is. So abundance is that journey, because I just had a conversation with a dear friend who's a neuroscientist at Stanford University, Dr. Jim Doty, and he's really big in the compassion world, abundant world, and he's got a new book coming out about the neuroscience of manifestation and neuroscience.
Get us
of
connected,
abundance.
brother. Get us connected. Let's have
this is the key, and it really the tipping point is when we move into that giving place, but the tipping point comes also in how can we serve this greater good? How can we be of greater service? And then being available to share ourselves and then receive all of it and be full with it. Right on?
Right on, brothers and sisters. High five, double high five. And that has been a huge lesson for me. And I speak from female, I speak from motherhood, I speak from women-owned business, I speak from, the thought and philosophy and the way I grew up, latchkey kid, adoption, yada, yada. I don't have an emotional charge to it anymore, but I'm just giving it the adjective to describe. So where I'm going with this is I did it all myself, right? That was I'm going to do it all myself. That's it. No. And that was lonely, right?
For sure.
And you know what, and I'll tell you right now, and I know that they're listening, I have been in Palm Springs, and the community that I'm here with have shown up in so much love. And it's just, it's an invitation, it's food, it's dessert, it's a smile, it's a conversation. And it has been so beautiful for me to just sit and be nurtured and loved on, and vice versa. And it is just, it's a love soup here, Adam. It's beautiful. I love it.
It's love. It's just love. And so loving you at the moment, and loving that you are having so much fun down there being loved.
To all the community. It's beautiful. And they're like, wait, you have a radio show? We want to listen. So hi, I love you guys. Yes, it's beautiful. And compassion. So Adam, I'll tell you, I coined this a few years ago. I coined it. It was downloaded. Having the CCs in life, compassionate curiosity. Right. Get really curious and have compassion, not only for yourself, but for the other. We talked about the bad roommate, or, the contrast conversation. If there's a contrast within the conversation that you're having with somebody else, how about not reactive or reacting? How about just breathing, getting yourself grounded, and really going into compassion and getting curious versus judgment, all that. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, I really like the curiosity leading into expressing the compassion that we can offer, well, first of all and foremost, to ourselves.
Yes.
We must be tender and nurture our own selves. The human experience is totally.
It all starts
It's
here.
a big time, big right in that part. And I know from my journey that was really about coming into a place of loving the places within myself that felt so unloved, and to have the kindness and compassion to put that noise down, that place of unworthiness down, or that self-critiquing down, but to come into that place of compassion. And of course, the beautiful way to do that is to offer compassion into the world. Compassion is incredibly silent in its own way, that we can share in our evenings of gratitude, that we can offer compassion to all those that are going through their own personal journey. And I did that last night a little bit as I went to bed with a little gratitude, and I woke up with a lot of gratitude with attitude today.
Good. It's a fundamental. It's fundamental in my life.
Attitude girl.
Yes, it is. I mean, first I started with the I'm Thankful Radio Network, and then it was the Gratitude Cafe. And yes, and now I've evolved into Clarity with Sue, because there's so many other tools in getting clear. That is the foundation piece. You talk about the 12 universal wisdom teaching. Part of my teaching is that gratitude. It's just a lifestyle. It is who I am, how I walk my talk. It is gratitude. And I love that you go to sleep enjoying that, feeling that, swimming in that, the gratitude, and then waking up. And I have taught the moment, that second you feel yourself coming out of sleep, go into gratitude. Just immediately go into gratitude. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. We can keep swimming all day long, Adam. This is amazing. Okay. So I want to remind everybody, audience, the book, Divine Genius, The Unlearning Curve. You can find Adam's information. Of course, go to claritywithsue.com. I'll have all the links and information there. or adamhall.solutions. Adam, you talked about impact investor. There's something stirring for me. Can we talk about that a little bit? Because I think the audience wants to hear about this. And because you were talking about the people, planet, profits with a purpose. And then you also said impact investor. Will you talk about that a little bit?
Well, with everything going on around climate, and the evolution of our own consciousness around, the human impact of, what we do.
Right.
On the enormity of all that, not to get wonky or get off into a lot of that, but ultimately from the business community is pumping billions, well, now trillions of dollars into what is referred to as impact investing. In other words, developing new technologies. Of course, way back when it began with solar, begin with new, batteries that are now powering our cars. But the what is going on in this arena where capital is coming into places that are transforming industries. Maybe it's an industry that makes packaging, that did it through paper and water, massive amounts of water. Now it's doing it through stone and sand with limited water and limited carbon imprint. So capital moves into places. It is moving into places, and it's about frickin' time that this capital is moving into places so we can transform how we do our business and where we do our business, because it's, of course, we all know it's unsustainable. We're in a heap of a hurt on the planet. We obviously, a lot of us, we don't have time. We got to work and manage our own daily lives. But this is a big movement. I'm very excited to say that it's moving in the right direction, in a big way, and it's great to be part of that, because in our own little way we can create impact. We can support those kind of businesses that are doing that, which obviously you think about.
Yep.
It's not about recycling. You know, we always thought, oh, let's recycle. But the fact of the matter is, it's like,
That will help though. Don't stop doing that.
well, no, we're not saying that. It's about consuming less to have to even recycle.
Yes.
How about
yes.
recycling those great pair of jeans?
Yes.
You know,
Turn them into shorts.
how
or
about
something.
like saying, how about saying, I got a lot of cool shit in the closet or whatever. I don't need to buy new clothes or whatever, because that is a place, and I'm saying not to do that, but that's a place that consumes tremendous amount of, creates impact on the planet. So there's little things that we can do and contribute in our own way.
Yeah, and look at the gift that you can give. And I, Adam, you may find this clever too. I call it the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And I use the analogy of walking into your closet and you've got old clothes. I just shoulda, coulda, woulda all over myself.
Right.
And I use the analogy of the closet because you walk in there and I shoulda given those away, or should not have eaten that donut because those jeans don't fit, whatever it is. And that's a frequency and an energy and a lifestyle. So when you go into your closet, how about turning that around and donating what you can? Now, if you have nice old suits and stuff like that, you can, men or women, there's organizations that you can donate that they desperately need. They're coming back into the workforce and they need these things. And you can resell them, you can donate, whatever that looks like for you. And that is a feel good. That is an even exchange of energy, right?
For sure. For
yeah,
sure.
For sure. Oh, there was, I know what it was. We were talking about forgiveness of self and compassion and getting curious. There is also boundaries, personal boundaries within that conversation too. And I am not saying just open up the floodgates and have at it. There are takers and givers. There's a contrast in the world. So again, going back to the top of the hour when we were talking about being authentic to you and the true purpose, my language is authentic and genuine. How are you going to show up in love and compassion and purpose and forgiveness? And also, first and foremost, standing up for yourself first and being able to communicate in love and compassion to the other person that, that doesn't quite feel right. Can we just have a noodle on that for a few more minutes?
It's very important. Yeah, we'll keep it short, but boundaries is there's a bit of a paradox there. And let me explain for a moment, because boundaries are essential. And of course, boundaries really are an invitation to really reclaim our power.
Yeah.
And to really our power to choose, our power to share our needs, a power to say no, our power to say yes, whatever that power is, because ultimately the idea is to be boundless. In other words, the idea here is really to live as sovereign beings where we're not bound or constrained by anybody else's story, truth, power, any of it. So sovereignty from this old idea of others and self and ego and these things is the power that we are asking for. But this is not to say that we don't need to have boundaries. It's to say the boundaries come by taking our power back to speak our truth. And sometimes silence is the most powerful truth that we can speak. So boundaries in the context that you speak of are very essential. But the other side of the boundary is to also know that we are boundless, we're sovereign, because ultimately we don't want to be bound within our own confines. Just think how much something happens and then all of a sudden our heart closes and we bind it up. Somebody
guilty, totally, still working on that, totally.
Totally. So there's also the danger of over correcting the piece that winds us up, and all of a sudden we don't have a lover for 10 years, or we find ourselves afraid to even go there. So we're bound in that. The idea is, let's be boundless. Let's be sovereign of those stories by reclaiming our power and truth. Does that make some sense?
Oh, totally. And again, it's getting clear on who you are and how you're showing up in the world. And that's why I'm changing everything to clarity and clarity with Sue, even above and beyond this conversation. And we're talking about, people and planet and your purpose. And you still have to back up and get really clear, authentic and genuine, those big anchor words that we were using earlier, on who you are, how you're showing up, and that life and lifestyle. And then integrating all of that. It could be a boundary. And I say boundary, that's all loving you as the human. You teach people how to treat you. So if you are coming from a place of not receiving or resentments, all of that, and you forget to take care of yourself, they're going to do the same thing. And then there's also the conversation of loving one another, an even exchange of energy, because that's ultimately, we don't want to be bound. We don't want to be bound with resentments. We don't want to be bound with lack or all the icky stuff, sticky, yes. I call it sticky stuff. We don't want to be bound by that. So if you can get really clear on who you are, whether it's getting the Divine Genius book and figuring that out for you, or taking your trip from Santa Monica to Peru and the bridge, and where I'm going with this, it's you getting clear on who you are and how you're showing up and that lifestyle, and implementing all of those wisdom tools from books and educators, from shamans.
Well, you said it, you said the key thing there, 2 key words: clarity and implementation. I love that, because in the shamanic traditions, it's clarity of intent.
Yeah.
It's clear. It's not just being clear, but it's taking it to the next little step, which is intentionality.
Yes.
Taking it into action.
Yes.
So there's a little continuum. And I think that's the key, that in the work you're doing is so vital, Sue, and so important in supporting people that way, so that they have their clarity, they have that power of their clarity, because otherwise we can get so stuck in the maze of our left brain, and analyzing and criticizing and rationalizing and realizing, and all this stuff brings complexity, when ultimately it's really simple.
It can be grace and ease. It could be butterflies or grizzly bears. Either way, you're going to learn, right? You're going to learn. And then the grizzly bears or the butterflies is how you are being loving and protecting and nurturing to yourself, because that's going to show up around the world for you. It's a reflection, right?
It's absolutely. And it's so crazy how we just manifest the very thing we fear. I was really good at this. I decided I'm not going to do that anyway. So I'm going to apply the same logic. I'm really good at the love that I express, and so that I can invite that into my life, and the people that understand that honor that want to play with that want to be joyful and, well, unabandoned.
Yes. I love it. Let me remind everybody how to get a hold of you. AdamHall.solutions. Again, that's AdamHall.solutions. If you are driving, please don't just go to claritywithsue.com. I'll have all that stuff listed. If you want to get a copy of the show, if you want to get some love bumps, which I call my newsletter, please go to claritywithsue.com and sign up for the newsletter. Him being Adam Hall, the book Divine Genius, The Unlearning Curve. That's his second book. You've got the third baby too, so congratulations. And number 6 on the granddaughters. Congratulations on that as well. You got a lot of female energy in there. I love it.
For good reason. It's loved me, and it's kicked me really good. And I wouldn't change a minute of it. As a matter of fact, I'm walking out the door to go see my youngest one right now, Jada. She's 2. She's doing a little ballet this morning. So grandpa gets to go and check her out.
I love that. Jada, ballet. Oh, I've raised 3 girls. You took me back a few years. Before we head out, well, it's 8:58. Well, never mind, babe. I got to wrap it up. And he's going to be like doing this. Adam, thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for shining your light. Thank you for teaching and educating and leading by example. And thank you so much for joining us here on Clarity with Sue. I wish you great success. Let me know how I can keep supporting you and loving on us in the world. So thank you very much.
Thank you all. Be well.
Thank you. All right, with that, you guys, we'll see you next week.